Hello everyone, welcome back to Space Shuttle building. Today we're going to build part 2 of the Space Shuttle. So we're going to build the external fuel tank and the SRBs. So what you're going to want to do is get your center of mass and then place this longer radial decoupler under the center of mass. You have to make sure it's right directly under, oh I've got to change it there. Just make sure it's directly under the center of mass. Okay, so once you have your radial decoupler on the right under the center of mass, we should start building the fuel tank. So we have, these are the three main fuel parts we're going to use. So what you're going to want to do is make sure they're all orange, just like the real shuttle, and then we're going to use all of these parts in the build of the shuttle. Now that we've got our fuel tank attached, what we're going to want to do is go to aerodynamics, and we're going to grab a nose cone for the back. So there's these two nose cones here, so we're going to make this one orange, and it actually changes the shape of the nose cone. So, oh, that's the wrong one. So we're going to go and going to take this one, this is the right one, and we're going to put this on the back of the fuel tank. Okay, now that we've got that nose cone on, we're going to grab this medium-sized fuel tank right here and put that on the front of the external fuel tank. And then we're going to put another one of the medium-sized fuel tanks, they're all Kerbodynes, on that. And then we're going to put one small one on the front. Okay, so now that you don't need to add any more fuel tanks from this point. So you've got all your fuel tanks on, now we just have to build the front. So we're going to take this little Kerbodyne adapter here, and we're going to place that on the front of the shuttle, make sure it's orange. Then we're going to go back to aerodynamics and grab the smaller orange nose cone and put that on the front of the little adapter. Now we're going to want to move the fuel tank, so we're going to, don't want to move it that way, or that way. Okay, so what we want to move the fuel tank up like so, all the way till the radial decoupler is right at the edge of the nose cone, because we want the fuel tank as far forward as we want, which is as far, what am I even saying? So now that you've done that, what you want to do is put two radial decouplers on the side of the fuel tank. So that's where we're going to attach the SRBs. After you've done that, now we attach to the SRBs themselves. Now the SRBs are just they're two parts, but the main part is the Clydesdale solid rocket fuel boosters. Now you're going to want to attach them on. Make sure they're on correctly. So if they're not on correctly, they'll be attached to the fuel tank, and when you decouple them, they'll stay on. So what you want to do is you make sure you can see the radial decoupler attached to the fuel tank. You can see it. If you don't see it, if the boosters are covering the radial decouplers, that means they're attached to the fuel tanks. If you can't get it off the bat, then what you want to do is go into move mode like I'm doing here, and just move them out until you can see the radial decouplers like right there. Then once you've done that, that means they're on correctly and you can move them down. After you've done that, all you need to do for the SRBs now is attach one nose cone. So just make sure they're not orange, and then just put them on the front in symmetry mode of the SRB. Now you're going to want to angle the rocket up just like it is at takeoff. So that means the SRBs and fuel tank on the ground while the shuttle is up. Oh, one quick thing, I forgot to mention this, but put a Clampotron docking port on the batteries and the docking port there, So if you ever want to dock to a space station or something like that, you can. So just make sure to have that on. Now we're going to add launch clamps. These are important because sitting like this, the space shuttle would just fall over and that wouldn't be good. So attach a few of them to the SRBs and then a single one to the wings. Make sure they're not touching any part of the orbiter, because if they are, when you take off, then the whole thing will explode. I know from experience. Now what you're going to want to do is attach a fuel line from the orange external fuel tank to the orbiter. Doesn't matter where it is, just make sure it's attached to the orbiter. Now that you need this because this is going to make it so while you're in flight, fuel is going to be constantly going into the orbiter. So you still have fuel left to do your deorbit burn or maneuver burn once you've detached the fuel tank. Now, like you're seeing here, what you're going to want to do, did it wrong there, but what you're going to want to do is add struts. The shuttle becomes very wobbly, and if you don't add struts, they hold the entire shuttle together. So you're going to want to add them connecting the SRB to the fuel tank and connecting the fuel tank to the orbiter. Without struts, the whole thing will just wobble apart, and while you're in takeoff, the whole thing will just fall apart, and your shuttle will explode. And again, that's not good. I have these to the schedule. After you've done that, what you're going to want to do is make sure your stagings are right. Staging, just make sure everything fires when it's supposed to. So in stage 1, which is actually stage 4, this is going to be what's going on first. So we're just going to want the 3 vector engines firing first. Then we're going to want the SRBs along with the launch clamps to detach on stage 2. Then on stage 3, we're going to want the external fuel tank to detach. Then on stage 4, we're going to want the orbital maneuver engines to fire up. Then on stage 5, we're going to want the parachute to do. So after that, you completed your shuttle and you can launch it. So just, if this helped, like and subscribe, and more new content coming soon. Bye!